What is up, my dudes? How the devil are we? I'm just doing a quick extra video today because I realised whilst having done the Raw review yesterday, I failed to mention a certain section from the show. It involved Adam Pearce in a backstage segment with a random WWE employee and the introduction of a new mystery, a suspiciously a suspiciously sized crate that seems to be about the size of a person. And on the front of it, it said, deliver to WWE, do not open before February 28th, which is the day of Elimination Chamber. Adam Pearce was very much like, where's this come from? The employee had no idea. He asked if it had his name on it. He said no. And he was like, fair enough. Send it to SmackDown. Let Nick Aldis deal with it. So over the course of the next three shows, SmackDown this week, and then Raw and SmackDown next week, we're going to be sort of playing a bit of a guessing game going into the Elimination Chamber as to who is inside that box. And I want to put my 2 cents forward as to potentially who it could be. The rumour going around initially that it was going to be a fairly terrible way to bring back Chris Jericho. He's been long rumoured to be on his way back. However, it's been reported by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful that Chris Jericho is still under contract at AEW, which has come as a surprise to some people, I would assume, because it seemed for all the world like he was done with AEW, having been off TV since he lost the Ring of Honor World Title back to Bandito in the middle of last year, and he hasn't been seen since. So there were a lot of people speculating that his contract was due to expire at the start of the year, and that he would seemingly appear back in WWE. A lot of people assumed it would be at the Rumble. He didn't, which a lot of people were disappointed about. And now we have this new crate that seemingly appeared, and no mention of Jericho. However, like I said, it's been reported that by Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful that Jericho's contract was seemingly frozen when he decided to take time off at the end of last year. According to one of my friends, Jericho and Fozzy were performing over here, I think last week. So he's clearly not doing anything with WWE at the moment, and if he's still contracted to AEW, he's not doing anything there either. So we'll have to see what happens there. So if it's not Jericho, then who? Who is inside that box? I have a theory, and I think this is fairly obvious when you sort of think about it if you're as much into the wrestling space as I am, that the likelihood is inside that box will be another former AEW star by the name of Danhausen. If it is Danhausen and he's being brought in to WWE on main roster, then I'm so happy. I'm so happy for the very nice, very evil Danhausen. He has long been a favourite of independent wrestling fans certainly around the United States, for his comedy antics. He does have a bit of a dark side when he's given the chance, so it would be kind of interesting to see if WWE, if he does go to WWE, which again has been long rumoured that he's on his way, it would be kind of fun to see if WWE would allow him to incorporate the very evil side of Danhausen to go with the very nice side of Danhausen that we've seen a lot of over the last few years that have made him an internet darling. Like I say, if he ends up on main roster as new comic relief, cool. I'm all for it, because when he's given the chance, Danhausen's great. You watch some of his stuff on his, I say, normal life online, and I say Danhausen's good fun to watch. And he's not a terrible wrestler, and I would find it really fun to see what they could do with him, because he has history with a lot of people, particularly CM Punk, who he calls Pepsi Phil. He's also got a little, but you can look around and there's plenty of people who've crossed paths with him at some stage throughout his independent career and his little bit of time when he was utilised in AEW. Still find it weird that that for whatever reason they just did. I know he was injured for a while, but the fact that he was such a big merch seller on the independents and when he came into AEW, the fact that they never really tried to do anything with him, even make him, not saying that they had to make him a champion or anything like that, but at least feature him prominently on TV. So it's a bit disappointing that his time in AEW fizzled out very, very quickly. But if he turns up in WWE and this is how they're going to introduce him, it would fit for Danhausen to be in a crate. I mean, when he turned up in AEW, he was pulled out from under the ring on a table by Adam Cole and then cursed him. So this would feel very much right. And if we're supposed to believe that whoever's in that crate has been in there for, by the time the Elimination Chamber rolls around next weekend, that person has been in a crate for at least a solid 12 to 13 days, nearly at least 2 weeks. Because essentially wherever it's been, you've got to ship it from wherever it's from to Monday Night Raw, and then he's going to be bouncing around SmackDown this week, probably go to Raw next week, and then back to SmackDown before heading to the Elimination Chamber. The dude's been in there for like 2 weeks, at least. So it would fit that a character like Danhausen will be inside, because realistically, looking at the kind of person the kind of character that Danhausen is, it'd make sense if he packed himself up in a crate and didn't allow himself to eat for 2 weeks, because he's a bit bonkers. But we'll have a bit more. We should hopefully have a little bit more in terms of who's going to be inside it. Come SmackDown, or potentially, who knows. And I will say this as well. This does feel, I know it's Triple H booking, but this does feel very Vince McMahon. He would do this sort of thing. And usually the reveals weren't particularly good or actually go anywhere. In 1990, you had the mysterious egg that appeared, and it was the Gobbledygooker, a terrible character that lasted all of. I honestly don't remember because I wasn't watching at the time, but I don't think it lasted very often. Then you had Eric Rowan's mysterious cage that had a animatronic spider in it. There was also the golden egg. I don't even remember what happened. I think that was promoting a film. So this does feel very Vince McMahon booking. And again, I questioned it on the Raw show that you get 5 years as a booker. You get 5 good years as a booker, and then things start to take a bit of a decline. If Triple H is booking Raw, booking WWE, and he's starting to pull out Vince type ideas, you got a feeling that things aren't going to starting to go a little bit downhill for the man. So, I mean, there's a little bit of intrigue. I'm seemingly more intrigued in this crate than I am who Mysterious Masked Man is. I did see something that I assume was a joke, but I'd be all for it. That the mysterious man in a mask that's attacking the Vision at the moment is Bad Bunny. It's probably not, but it would be really cool if it was. That'd certainly bring some fresh eyeballs into WWE, and it would get a huge amount of buzz around a story and a group like the Vision that is sadly starting to fizzle out. You have Seth Rollins as your leader that's going to build Bron Breakker. Seth goes down injured, so you have to pivot to Bron being the leader. Bron gets injured, so then you have to pivot to someone else, and the whole group is seemingly just fizzling out. So it's not Bad Bunny, I'm almost certain of it. But it would be kind of cool if it was, though, even for a short run, to have him back at WrestleMania again, considering he's already appeared at a WrestleMania and is undefeated at a WrestleMania because he won a tag match in 37, teaming with Damian Priest. And he also had one of the greatest moments in WWE over the last few years when he appeared in Puerto Rico to face Damian Priest in a street fight, and my God, I swear, even you could hear that. Honestly, you could probably hear that Backlash crowd from Puerto Rico where I live, and I live in England, because that crowd was nuts. Um, but like I say, it's probably not going to be Bad Bunny, as much as I think people would love to see it. So yeah, inside the crate, who knows? Could it be Danhausen? Could it be someone else? If you have any ideas or opinions, whether sensible or totally out of left field, stick them in the comments. Let me know, and I'll discuss it on Raw. I'll discuss it on the Raw show next week. But with that being said, I'm going to call it here. Just thought I'd give a little update into how my mind works on some of these things. And yeah, question: who's in the crate? Who knows? We'll find out. We'll find out. We should hopefully find out at the Elimination Chamber. So we'll wait and see. Find out in a bit.